So when it comes to the state of the world, 2020 has been one of the worst years in recent history. The entire century of the 2000s will not look kindly upon the year 2020. It has been absolutely miserable in almost every aspect, besides action figures. Action figures have been very nice in 2020, and naturally, because it's the year 2020, Hasbro Marvel Legends, who is run by people who actually care about the franchise and really dedicate themselves to bringing about things that make the fans happy on a regular basis, they released Iron Man 2020 for the year 2020. Took them long enough, but hey, it's kind of cool they waited until 2020 to do this, even though we got a Marvel Universe one like probably over a decade ago. But yeah, this is the Marvel Legends Iron Man 2020, exclusive to Walgreens in the United States, maybe other places. I don't really know how else it's released. And yeah, this figure is actually really great. I do have a couple slight issues with it, but overall, this is fantastic. It is based off of the 80th anniversary Iron Man, which I was honestly pretty surprised that they did that. But I mean, I could tell it was based off of it. And they did a really good job implementing that mold for this Iron Man. And I think first things first, we should compare it to that Iron Man. So getting this guy in a vanilla pose, you'll immediately see one of my issues I have with him. But it's not too big of an issue. You may already be seeing one of the other issues, but I'll point it out later. So here is Iron Man 2020, and here is the 8th anniversary Iron Man. And let's just kind of get him in a more basic pose here and give him a helmet. I actually haven't given him a helmet in ages because I love that Tony Stark head so much. Come on off. Oh my goodness. I swear the force of pulling a head off always sends my desk completely trembling. But here we go. Here is a comparison between both of them. And you can immediately see some differences. Number one, the gold is painted on him, and the gold is cast in gold plastic on him. The red is much darker on him, while it's brighter on him. And I gotta say, even though the gold is cast on this and not painted like this, I think the colors on the 2020 are infinitely superior. Like you can see on the back of the 80th, it kind of has some swirly plastic going on, but the 2020 looks absolutely amazing. They're pretty much the exact same mold. Pretty much the only physical differences between them are that they took these things off. Those things are removed on this and replaced with the little gear and the little star thing. And he also does have this chest rig, which we'll talk about. He also has a new head sculpt, which we'll talk about that too. But yeah, you can see I have him with the Alex Ross helmet. And I do also have this helmet here just to kind of show it. So yeah, you can kind of see the comparisons of the helmets there. The colors do not really match on the 80th if you want to do a head swap. But you can, you can. It's the same mold, you can, but the color is not going to match whatsoever. And I don't know why you would want to do a head swap, because 2020 is supposed to have like the toothy mouth. But we'll talk about that head in a little bit. But yeah, mold-wise, they're actually really similar. One thing definitely to note, every single 80th Iron Man has the biceps wrong side in. You can see bicep muscles on the outside actually have 3 sections, but they have the inside showing, and there's only 2 sections. I mean, I'm not an anatomy freak, so it doesn't really bother me. But they did fix that on the 2020. The arms are facing the right way. And also right out of the box, the legs for the... they're like this for the 80th. You can see how the sculpting doesn't match the feet, and you have to actually rotate that properly, even though right out of the box they're properly assembled on the 2020. But I mean, just look at that gold. This is gold plastic. This is gold paint. You can see the paint kind of has some flaking. Not really flaking, more like some scuffing, like if you move the legs up. And it just has some inconsistencies. But the plastic, I really have to commend them. This is the nicest looking gold plastic I've ever seen on an action figure. It looks fantastic. This is probably one of the prettiest Marvel Legends Iron Man figures, at least color-wise. And, I mean, that's pretty much it with the comparisons on these. Other than that, they're pretty much the same. But one more thing. This chest rig is a separate piece. You can take it off, and you can see one thing. He can actually have his arms straight down now. And comparing it to this shows a really amazing detail I didn't even know about on the 80th. And that is the arc reactor is actually cast out of a clear plastic, separate from the chest. At least it looks that way. It looks like it's a clear yellow almost, and it's separate. So that's actually a really nice little detail. And I honestly really do like this look as like a more basic Iron Man armor. This is also a separate piece, just slides over that, but like I said, those have been removed. So no biggie, but you could probably kit bash, maybe paint those, and maybe paint the helmet, and have a really nice colored, you know, classic Iron Man if you want. But yeah, that's also a thing. And if you're wondering, yeah, you can put the gears on the old 80th. I don't know why you would want to. I don't even know why I'm doing this, but I'm doing it anyway. Because when it comes to the Iron Man videos, I don't really review Marvel Legends, but I review Iron Man stuff. So I like making them very thorough. So yeah, you can do that. I don't know why you'd want to, but you can. You can see definitely the color differences in the gold. Yeah, I do like how that is removable, so you have the option. But yeah, like I said, one issue, slight issue, but an issue nonetheless I do have, is that the gear shoulders do kind of make his arms stick out just a little bit off to the side. So, we pretty much talked about the looks of the figure in its entirety. I mean, look at the detail on the belt, that looks really nice. We pretty much talked about all this already, but we haven't really talked about the head sculpt yet. And the helmet's not bad. I think the helmet looks good. Looks like Iron Man 2020. Looks the part. But those eyes, those eyes look really, really bad. This is based off of the original 80s version of Iron Man 2020. And I guess they're looking for a classic look, but those eyes just don't look any good. Like, if you compare it to the Tony head, I mean, look at those eyes and then look at those. Now, granted, this isn't Tony. This is actually Arno Stark, so it's actually a different character. Yeah, you can see, like, just kind of lining up the eyes. Like, if we line up the eyes on the left, you can see they're too far spread out. They're too big. They're really simple in their paint application, and they just don't look any good. I'm just not a fan of those eyes, and one's kind of looking off to the side a little bit. I don't know, like, if you cover one up, it's not too bad. But both together in tandem, I'm not digging it. So, yeah, eyes aside, he looks absolutely fantastic. Beautiful, beautiful Iron Man figure. Articulation's exactly the same as the 80th. You get all the nice range, but you don't have to worry about the gold paint rub because he's all cast in the plastics, which is amazing. Honestly, these colors are absolutely beautiful, and they really should commend themselves for finally, after all these years, nailing a really nice-looking gold plastic. It just looks great. It looks absolutely superb. And I know people are like, oh, you should run it down more, but I mean, we all know Marvel Legends articulation nowadays. You get what you expect, and what you expect is pretty good. So that's pretty much the base figure out of the way. What does he come with? A lot. So you do have the fisted hands. You do have those, which is nice. And you can use those. But let's pop those off for the remainder of this video. And pop on the blasting hands with, of course, the blast effects that we've seen 1,000 times. And you can just pop those in. And hey, look, he's blasting. Of course, the base part of the blast and the, you know, the shooty-outy part are actually separate pieces if you want to separate those. But you do have those, which is nice. Pretty, I was about to say standard and typical. That would have been stipical. Very stipical of a Marvel Legends Iron Man figure. But he has a little bit of an extra thing going on. So he comes with these. These are, if you've ever seen like old Jango Fett figures or old R2-D2s, these are, you know, shooty-uppy blast effects. And you could use these with pretty much any Iron Man, as long as you're okay with the color. They do have an R and an L labeled on these pieces. These are actually separate. So you could also have these detached as well. Like this, that has an R right there. That has an L. And these are actually different sculpts as well. Or actually, are they? Yeah, they are. These are different sculpts as well, but I don't think they're specified on which is right, which is left. You can kind of do whatever. Yeah, those are nice and separate. They even look like explosions if you just want to have them off in the distance. But these actually fit in like this. And then, of course, you can have the feet. You can have it separate. And you can actually put those on the hand as well. That actually looks really good on the hand. But you can see this actually covers the surface of the foot a lot better. Because a lot of other blast effects, it just kind of looked like it came from the heel. So now, it kind of looks like it's coming from the whole foot, and it's bigger. So I hope they actually use these effects in the future for at least some figures. Yeah, you can get those in. You can see that's what he looks like with those. But these, oh my goodness. Look at that. That's pretty gorgeous. Makes him very tall. Makes him a little taller than I anticipated. But yeah, he is looking nice. Let me get the camera up a bit. Yeah, that's quite the display right there. You can see I have to really have the camera really far back for you to see this. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's Iron Man 2020 from Hasbro Marvel Legends. Like I said, the year 2020 has been absolute garbage when it comes to the state of the world. Some countries, including the one I have the pleasure of living in, are considering public health and safety a political issue. So that's welcome to 2020, everybody. But hey, at least we can enjoy some nice toys while we stay inside responsibly. And we can responsibly go out and responsibly wear our masks and responsibly try to live the rest of 2020. As long as Arno Stark doesn't get to us first, because apparently he's kind of a bad guy. Be careful. Maybe he's actually real. Maybe the dimensional merge Chris Chain's been talking about has already begun. And Arno Stark has actually infiltrated 2020 as Iron Man 2020 and has completely devastated the entire year. Maybe it's his fault. Bye.